Oh, we are rocking, we are rolling, and we are here talking with a talented songstress by the name of RAQUEL CION, C-I-O-N, and she is doing a show, several shows by a performer that influenced her a great deal. She was tremendously influenced and loved the work and also just the malleability, the changeability of the very great late David Bowie. So she's doing a show called Me and Mr. Jones, My Intimate Relationship with David Bowie. Now, first of all, I want to make sure that I don't get this wrong. You never actually met David Bowie, RAQUEL, did you? And shalom to you, by the way. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Oh, can we make her a little bit louder?
You're very welcome.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
No, unfortunately and sadly, I did not ever meet him. Yeah. I mean, I had moments where I could have reached out and said, oh, could you sign this? Or, oh, could you? But I didn't do that. I really wanted to meet him as a person, as an artist, and that never happened, sadly.
So then, but you did see him, I guess, then in concert while he was touring.
Oh, yes, many times.
So were you at the Glass Spider tour? Did you see that one?
I did. I think I saw the Glass Spider tour about 10 times.
So, yeah. Well, what was your favorite Bowie moment in concert of seeing him perform? Was there one moment that was absolutely so electric that you'll never forget?
Well, the moment, I talk about this in my show, there was a moment in 97 in San Francisco at the Warfield, and he was on his knees at the lip of the stage, and I put my hand on his knee, and he just put his hand on mine, and stayed there for a while. During Hello Space Boy, and he looked in my eyes, and it was just, yeah, that was good. There were so many, though. I mean, but that was pretty wonderful for me.
Now, see, this I don't understand, because when I'm sitting on the Long Island Railroad and I put my hand on a strange girl's knee, I get slapped with a restraining order. Why is it different? God damn it.
Well, I did put my hand on him.
Well, that's true.
Maybe that's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, on the LIR, the rules are slightly different.
Then again, maybe Iman would have served the restraining order against you. But let me ask you, RAQUEL.
Held up. Yes.
When was the very first time that you heard a David Bowie song? Maybe as a child or something.
I'm not terribly. I can remember the first time I consciously listened to Bowie, which was when I was 12 years old, and my sister played me Hunky Dory. It was actually her roommate's record in her dorm at Wesleyan, and it was just over for me. It was just over. That was it.
Was it Changes that did it? Was it the Andy Warhol? What?
It was really Life on Mars that did it for me, and still does.
Yeah.
That song still just gets me where I live. And I just find it so visceral, actually. It actually it just feels like it's part of my being now.
Well, all right. I'm going to actually drive that point home a little bit, because one thing about David Bowie's lyrics is that they can be sometimes very cryptic and very metaphysical and very strange. So what does Life on Mars mean? What is it about? It's strangers fighting in a dance hall. Look at that caveman go, which is an old 50s song, or 60s alley-oop. But what the hell does the song actually mean?
Well, I think this is one reason I love Bowie so much and love his work so much, is that there is, it's not prescriptive, right? It's not like, hey, everything's going to be okay, or, this is what you need to do, or this is where we're going. It's very, there's a space between his work and the listener where you can create your own experience. It leaves gaps in order to do that, and it's also changeable in that way. So at different times in your life, things can be interpreted in different ways.
Like the Talmud, for example.
Like it is somewhat like a Talmudic debate.
See?
You are right.
Now, are you, Raquel, not necessarily a Jewish name, Sion?
Rachel.
Rachel. Are you Rachel? Are you a Rachel?
Rachel.
So you are a Jewess?
I am a Jewess, full-fledged Ashkenaz, both sides.
Were you bat mitzvahed?
Purebred or inbred? Uh-oh.
Well,
I was... I didn't answer your question about life on Mars. To me, it's about alienation and just the absurdity of the world. How history, as we can see right now, how history repeats itself.
True. Very true. Okay. Oh, that's it. What line is about that? Well, where do you go from there? How do you get there?
Well, I mean, it's very much in the chorus, where the sailors fighting in the dance hall. Oh man, look at those cavemen go! It's a freaky show. Take a look at the lawman beating up the wrong guy. Oh man, wonder if he'll ever know. He's in the best-selling show. It's spin, right? Mm. Is there life on Mars? Like, is there another place where this cycle doesn't happen?
Oh, okay.
And it's about, and it's a girl who's feeling alone and alienated from her family who goes to the movies for an escape. I mean, at the simplest level.
Yeah, okay.
But then it's like, oh, I've seen this-ish before. And he said that too, like all the space stuff and all the...
Right.
All of that, he said it was mostly an exploration about alienation and about inner space and his own wrestling somewhat with big spiritual questions, like a Talmudic debate. And he said point blank, I don't really care if there's life on Mars. Like in a literal sense. And he was afraid of flying. So it's like...
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh, he sailed and took trains for years and years and years. He was deathly afraid of flying.
That's interesting because one of the famous things that he did during the Ziggy Stardust era wasn't he on a harness and flying over the audience like by foy? An egg or something? Yeah.
Oh, he did that in the Diamond Dogs tour.
Oh, the Diamond Dogs tour, okay.
Yeah, a cherry picker.
Well, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, he was high. He was also so high at that point, so
So we're talking, by the way, with Raquel, with Rachel. I will call you Rachel from that. Rachel Cion.
I would love that. My great-grandpa Jake called me Rachel.
Oh.
Full and that.
So when did you realize that you wouldn't have a normal, 9-to-5 job, family, kids?
I have a 9-to-5 job.
You do? What?
I mean, you think I can afford to live as an artist?
No one can.
Making my own work?
No, because sometimes I get
insurance.
No, because sometimes I get artists that I talk to that I interview on here, and they do this and they sell a couple of CDs here and there, and then they tour and then they go there. And then I ask them, how do you feed yourself? And they figure out a way. They have side hustles, as they say. But you don't have a side hustle. You have a day hustle.
I've had many side hustles. I've done the serving in restaurants. I've done massage therapy. I've done assistant, being personal assistant to like a 90-year-old.
A 90-year-old. Well, I missed that.
A 90-year-old psychoanalyst who escaped Nazi Germany. That's a whole other show. I've been an office assistant. I've temped. What else have I done to sport? I've taught. I've been a guest artist, teacher. Right now, I'm a librarian. I'm a children's librarian at the Brooklyn Public Library.
Oh my God. Who knew? I know someone very close to me who works in a library who wants to blow his brains out every week. And he isn't even a children's librarian.
Insane. Well, it's not bad. I mean, come on. I take apart Legos and recommend picture books.
But aren't children the worst things in the world? I have 21 and a half children, and I can even say, isn't it horrible dealing with children all day?
It can be. I'm a little bit like the Pied Piper, like they just love me and I'm very real with them. And I also can leave them and just go home to my apartment where I live alone.
Oh, okay. Is that by choice? Are you dating? Are you out there looking? What's your...
Not right now. What are you entering me now? What is going on here?
I've done my shotgun thing. You know, I try and... What?
Are you talking to my mother?
I'm just saying.
We've already been asked if I was bat mitzvahed.
Yes, this is an important thing.
At least once every 3 months, she's like, I regret you not being bat mitzvahed. So, I don't know. And then the dating thing.
Yes.
And then the how are you making, well, oh no, it's just a tribal thing, right?
Yeah, of course it is. These are the questions. Because I can ask. I did ask about Bowie, and I will ask more about your career. Right. But you have to mix the professional and the personal. That's what makes things interesting. Exactly. I tell everybody about my prostate. You know, that's an important thing. People want to know.
Well, then I'm going to tell everyone about my boob.
Oh, well, yes. Yes, go ahead.
Well, see, here we go.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Yeah,
yes, go ahead. I have this library job. After I quit working for the 90-something-year-old Dr. Vong, the German
Holocaust survivor guy, yeah.
He was a Yekka, so he got out quick. You know what a Yekka is?
I don't know. I don't know what a Yekka is. What is a Yekka?
A Yekka is a Yiddish word for like a very fancy German Jew.
Oh, okay. So he had the money and the connections that he got out in
Well,
he got out in 1906. Yeah.
He did have to go to Italy and then get to. I mean, it was not traumatic, but you know.
He doesn't really count as a Holocaust survivor. Then he counts as someone lucky.
But he did work with survivors after the war. He worked very intensely with them. Anyway, after I quit that job without any prospects because he was driving me nuts, and he needed a nurse, not an assistant. But
did you have to change fluids?
That's what happened. Yeah. No.
Oh, God. Okay, good.
No. And he was still dating in his 90s. That's a whole other story. Yeah. But really, that's a play I need to write. I've already written a little of it. It's just never fully gotten there. I didn't have a job lined up. I couldn't get work. My back was to the wall, or I was like being put into the wall. And I was like, well, I'll go back to school and become a librarian. I know a lot of people that are librarians, and they're able to live their lives and still do their work. And so I did that, and it was a difficult transition for me going into a full-time job, which I really only did in 2015.
Okay.
And thank God I did, because in 2016, in September, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I have incredible insurance through. I'm a city worker.
Are you CSEA? Is that your plan? Or
I'm DC 37.
Oh.
So yeah, and I have incredible health insurance, and I was able to do what I needed to do.
Now, you have mentioned...
Granted, I had no time.
Mm-hmm.
So I still had my insurance, and I still had my job. I didn't get paid for a lot of it. That was a whole other thing. But anyway, but and I'm here, and I'm cancer-free, and no evidence of disease. So
now, you have said that, David Bowie's life and his music, but combined, was helpful to you, was motivational, inspirational for you in going through your own your cancer treatments and getting through the breast cancer, yes?
Yes, definitely.
How?
Definitely. Well, I'm very comforted by his voice and by his literal voice and his poetic voice, his writerly voice, and his music and his life. I mean, the way he dealt with his illness with such awareness and kept creating throughout it was beyond an inspiration. And going through chemo, going through radiation, going through all these things, and listening to his last album or the work that was created for the show Lazarus in his voice, there's no way cancer is not within that work.
Okay.
Well, you know, I just, or maybe that's just my interpretation, but it feels very much about that.
Now, you went to see, I did not see Lazarus when it was off Broadway. They turned it into, it was a musical, it was a play. It's not a Bowie album. It's a
right.
tracks to a performance. You saw it, and you had, you liked parts of it, you didn't like other parts of it. What was your issue with Lazarus off Broadway?
I felt like it didn't, first of all, I loved everyone involved in the production. And I love New York Theater Workshop. It's my favorite theater. I had my own personal and kind of career shame issues around it, feeling like, oh God, if only I could be in this or somehow be involved in this. That was really hard for me because I know a lot of people at New York Theater Workshop, and I've done a lot of readings there, and I have friends that perform there. So that was like, oh, that was hard.
Did you audition for it?
No.
Oh, well.
And I wrote letters, and I mean, I have this in my show too. I wrote letters that I didn't send to the artistic director and the literary director, and I was just like, I don't want to sound crazy, just like a crazy Bowie fan. I want to offer something, but then it was hard. I love Ivo van Hove's work. Of course, obviously, I'm beyond.
All right, hold on, stop. Let's just explain. Ivo van Hove is this avant-garde wunderkind director who, right now, he's the guy who's doing the remade West Side Story on Broadway. He directed Lazarus off-Broadway at New York Theater Workshop. And he's known for doing very modernized, not off the wall, but streamlined, very in-your-face modern interpretations. Did he do Network? Was that him too, or was that someone else?
Yes, he did Network as well.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Sorry. So Ivo van Hove, you love his work.
And I always, for years since he started performing his work at New York Theater Workshop, I've been going to his shows. Like, he did a production of Streetcar Named Desire at New York Theater Workshop in the late 90s, which was one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. It was incredible. And so I was really excited about it. I felt like it just didn't achieve what it wanted to achieve. I felt the music, the choice of songs was odd. I don't need a traditional narrative whatsoever, but I need to feel something, and it just didn't hit me in certain ways. There was one monologue that Michael C. Hall had the Thomas Jerome Newton character, and I was like, oh, there's Bowie's voice. Like, there's, the way that is shaped, I really felt him. I didn't feel him a lot in the work, and it just felt in between,
and of course, he didn't have a chance to polish and to change it and to revise it and do it
yeah,
again because, you know.
Yeah. So I feel like it was, and it changed from previous to actually when it opened, but it just, I felt like either do absolutely nothing, like go beyond, like a meditation practice, like go beyond boredom, like just sit in it, or freaking trash the place. It felt in between.
Oh, I see.
Like there was a moment where like there was a refrigerator, and the lead woman went and just threw like 2 things out of the refrigerator, and it was just like, well, why? Like, just go for it. Like, and then there were all these different narratives. Like, it didn't work for me, and that made me really sad.
Well, let me ask you, Rachel. Let me ask you,
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome. What should people get out of your show? Because you know, when you put together Me and Mr. Jones, my intimate relationship with David Bowie, that you're doing at Pangea on, and I'll tell everybody, it's January 16th and 17th. Also, February 21st and 22nd, and then again March 13 and 14. So if you see it in January and you love it so much, you can go back and see it a couple more times. But
exactly, we do get repeat.
Good
audience. I'm in Philly right now. We just did the show last night and the night before for their Philly Loves Bowie festival. We were here last year as well.
Yeah.
And the shows were great. I mean, it was intense and wonderful doing the show last night because it was the anniversary of his passing. Right. But it felt very much like a ritual almost. There were a lot of tears.
But one thing we haven't talked about,
that was beautiful.
Yeah, one thing we haven't mentioned is, I mean, we say that in the show, it's not like you're just doing changes one Bowie, you know, all the hits.
No,
and things like
not at all. Oh no, we don't do. Okay, I'm gonna go back. Look, I love how tangential our conversation is. It is
Talmudic, yes.
It is. Again, it's tribal.
It's a halachic Mishnah radio. Yes.
Am I coming over for Shabbat next week?
That's right. I'm bringing rugelach. It'll be delicious.
Oh my God! Please.
So, but seriously, what songs are you doing?
Don't make promises you can't keep. What was I going to say?
Well, the songs.
My show, the songs, we go deep. We sometimes underscore with the hits, and we might give you a hit or two at the end, a charting song, but mostly they are the deeper cuts.
Why?
Why? Because it.
No, not why. Which one? Tell people what songs can they expect to hear? A couple that they'd be surprised at. Yeah. We do Sunday off of Heathen. We do Dollar Days off of Black Star. We do Strangers When We Meet off of Outside and or Budo Suburbia. That's for the Bowie fans. That's me proving myself to the Bowie fans. Yeah.
What else? We do Days. We do Rock and Roll With Me.
Well, that's one of those.
Teenage Wildlife.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of
stuff. And the
more.
The overarching theme is how it affected you through your life and getting through, your work day, your cancer, and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and growing up, and why we love what I think it is its own little Talmudic debate. I don't know if there are answers about love and why we love what we love, and is there reason for loving what we love, or is it something that just is karmic or neural or limbic or who knows? I don't know.
No, no, seriously. I mean, there are no answers to these cosmic problems. Right. God has the answers, perhaps, maybe.
Perhaps.
Maybe Moses did. I don't know if God knew all that much, but
I
Moses.
don't think Moses did.
No.
I don't.
Well, that's why God struck him. God said, "No, we're not going to the promised land. I'm going to kill you." Maybe because Moses would have taken over and he would have been the first dictator or something. Maybe not.
Yeah, and he was a little like, I think he was. I feel like Moses. I mean, the plagues were, especially the parting of the Red Sea. It was a little showy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was a showman.
He totally was. I mean, he didn't speak all that well. He had Aaron do the talking for him. So it was sort of like if David Copperfield hired John Kenneth Galbraith to be his spokesperson, and then they worked very well together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, I'm glad you said that. I, in my head, was thinking magician, and I didn't want to offend, but...
Oh, I want to offend.
Thank you.
Please, I completely offend. I love offending.
Again.
Yeah.
I feel like we're probably related, by the way. But anyway.
Well, we're all inbred, as you said. Somewhere. There's some rabbi who was raped by a Cossack, and somehow that made the two of us. But, wait. Now, I do want to also mention.
That's also true.
Yeah. I want to mention here that this wonderful person that we're talking to, RAQUEL CION, is not just a singer and a director, or not just a singer, but a director as well. You staged a show that's going to be at Dixon Place in February. Well, I should tell people about this.
I did?
Dad in a Box, no?
Oh, no, we just did it. We just did it at a place called The Wild Project last week.
Yeah, but isn't it coming to Dixon Place in February also? Am I wrong?
No, I think that was last year.
Oh, oops. Oi, see, I was reading the internet the wrong way. I was reading it the Hebrew way, from right to left.
Oh,
and so I rang it backwards. That's what happens.
But we just reworked that show in a really beautiful way. Ooh. And we're hoping to get another run somewhere. And Kim, I'm super proud of Kim Katzberg. She's an incredible performance artist, actress. She won the New York Innovative Theater Award last year for Dad in the Box for outstanding solo performance.
So as
a director,
as a Jewish directress, what is the most important piece of something that you keep in mind when you get a project that you are not in, but that you have to direct for someone? What is the most important thing that you're trying to do?
I feel like it's very, very simple. I feel like it's tell the story. Just tell the story. Whatever that story might be. Whatever, again, it doesn't have to be in an Aristotelian narrative. It doesn't have to be beginning, middle, and end. It can be end, beginning, end, middle, whatever.
Sounds like the Human Centipede. No.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Sorry about that.
I've never seen that, but we've all seen it.
I've dreamed it, yes. Give vowel.
Oh, no. But yeah, so just to tell the story and to make sure that whatever the grain of the show is communicated to the audience. Because it's that relationship that's very important to me, I think.
Now, speaking of important songs, I'm sure there are there a couple of Bowie songs that you wanted to do in your show, but they're just not right for you, or they didn't fit, or you had to wiggle down?
What do you mean they're not right for me or didn't fit?
Wait, if you wanted to, let's be honest. You're a performer. If you wanted, if you really could, you would do a 4-hour Bowie tribute, and you have everybody sit there, never go to the bathroom, just watching. I know what it is to be a performer. I've been on stage.
Oh, yes, I would.
Yeah. See, but you can't do that. You've got 75 minutes or 90 minutes.
Well, I just turned 50 in July.
Yes, Mazel.
And thank you. And for my 50th, I we mostly recreated. Bowie, for his 50th, did a show at Madison Square Garden with guest artists.
Yeah.
And he did a 25-song set. And so we recreated most of that show.
Right.
And we had, an 18-song set, 20-song set? So basically, I did, for my birthday, I was like, oh, everyone's going to come here, just have me sing Bowie songs for them.
Which is fantastic.
and I had guest artists, and we did it for charity.
Ooh.
Because he did his for charity. So that was a wonderful thing to do, and we made a good chunk of change for a narrow pro-choice America.
For a narrow pro-choice America?
Narrow, N-A-R-A-L.
Oh, narrow. That's the recording artist thing, right? Yeah.
No. It's pro-choice litigation and support for women's health care across the country.
So see, I prefer the Narwhal Choice America.
Oh, I love Narwhal.
Don't
I talked
you?
about them last night.
Really?
Yeah, they're the unicorns of the sea.
They are indeed. Aren't they? I just love them for no particular reason. I don't know why, but there's just something about them. That,
yeah, they're magical and weird.
Well, yeah, maybe that's why I like them.
Yeah,
the weirdness.
Supremely weird.
So if you could put, you're talking about the special birthday show that you did, where you did a whole bunch of, well, if you could put 1 or 2 more songs back into Me and Mr. Jones, that you, for time reasons, for bigging the narrative kind of thing,
right?
What would they be?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I would love to do Sweet Thing, Candidate, Sweet Thing Reprise, which I did for another show I did, but that song is 10 minutes long. Yeah. I would love to do, and it's off of Diamond Dogs, right. I would love to do Sons of the Silent Age, off of Heroes, yeah. Which I had to cut from the show. It used to be in the show, and then it was cut. I would love to do Win again.
Oh, Win is a good, show. Yeah. That album gets no love. Young Americans is so good, and it's yeah.
Can I geek out for a second? Right, for a second. I've been doing it for a half hour. What am I talking about? Tonight I'm performing at Union Transfer for the big end of the Bowie Week.
Oh, in Philadelphia.
Philly Loves Bowie Week festival, and Ava Cherry is performing, and Ava Cherry dated Bowie from 73 to 75 or so. Well, he was married, but, they had a thing, Anyway, and Win is actually written for her.
I didn't know this.
It's written for her, and
so not only did he pop her cherry, she cherried his pop, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes, she did. She's gorgeous. She still is gorgeous. She's such a lovely woman. And then at the end, we're singing Young Americans because we're in Philly, and she's singing it, and I'm singing a verse with Ava Cherry in Philly, and I'm losing my mind about this. I'm just...
This is, Mazel.
It's just such a thrill for me.
Have you ever sung with any Bowie major bandmates like Alomar or some of those kinds?
I've sung with Mark Plati. I did a show with Mark Plati once, who was his guitarist and musical director for the Hours tour. He was musical director. Wow. And he played on the reality tour. He played on the Hours tour. He played on Heathen.
Okay, wait, stop right there. Yeah. Stop, Rachel. So you know this man, this Michael Plati. Did he have any great Bowie stories to tell? Any funny or poignant or just weird anecdotes about being on tour and doing these albums with this man.
Oh, we didn't get that deep in. We didn't get that deep in because it was like just one of those tribute shows where you just show up and you go, and then you know it's just a crazy cluster afterwards. Jason Linder, who played keyboards on Black Star, he came to see the show.
Cool.
He came to see my show, and that was such an honor. And he just said what a kind and fun man he was, and how he really allowed his musicians to fly. He just gave people the space to experiment and to bring whatever it was that they were good at to the work at hand to the utmost level. And yeah, he said it just changed his life on every level.
Well, speaking of people doing work on the great level here, the life-changing show for RAQUEL CION is called Me. You love when I call you RAQUEL.
I do, but everyone else can call me Raquel. Everyone else better call me Raquel.
Oh,
how about that?
All right, fair enough. I get the dibs on the RAQUEL. Yes.
You do.
But
because
please.
Because you're Mishpocha.
Yes! I am indeed. I was there for your bris. I was. No, I don't. Okay.
Oh, Lord. Oh, God. Wow, that had a visceral effect over here.
It would. Wouldn't it? Okay. Now, remember that you can find out more, because obviously you're doing the show in Philadelphia tonight, and then you're coming to Pangea on January 16th and the 17th, so that's later in this week, and then February 21st and 22nd again, and March 13th and 14th again at Pangea. Plus, to find out all that RAQUEL CION is doing, you've got to go to her website, meandmrjonesShow.com. Now, there's no periods, no nothing in there, just meandmrjonesShow.com is the place to follow all the stuff that you're doing, which brings us to the last question here. And I wonder if you're thinking about this or worried about this, because right now you're totally wrapped up into this show, into Me and Mr. Jones, into David Bowie, and doing those songs. Are you worried that 2 or 3 years down the line, when it's time maybe to come up with a new cabaret show, because you're not just a Bowie impersonator or a Bowie, not impersonator, but
I'm not an
tributer.
Impersonator now.
No, but when it's time to be RAQUEL CION again and do other kinds of songs and music, are you just going to be the Bowie girl? You know, are you worried about that?
If I'm known as the Bowie girl, that's a beautiful thing to me.
Okay.
It really is. I don't care about that. I think even if I do other things, I'm still known as the Bowie girl.
And that's fine. That's not a...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, are you working on any other kind of cabaret show?
I am working on something right now. I am working on something. It is moving at a glacial pace.
It's like my prostate.
At a glacial pace.
Yeah, sorry.
It's pre-global warming. Like, they're not melting quickly. So,
you've been working on this since 1864. It's a very long time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I myself am Methuselah.
Well, you're aging gracefully. That's for sure.
Why, thank you.
Anyway.
There are a lot of good products now.
That's true. Well, first of all, I want to wish you even more than success for the show, although obviously for performers, success is the most important thing, but health too, that you should remain sea-free, for God willing, forever. And also then, just in second place to that, I want to wish you continued success and excitement and delight in doing Me and Mr. Jones, my intimate relationship with David Bowie, that everybody can go see in Philadelphia tonight and Pangea in New York. RAQUEL, it has been so much fun talking to you.
What a joy. Thank you so much.
And shalom to you.
Shalom. Shabbat shalom.